Joining me now is Esther Krakue, as she does every Thursday, the broadcaster and writer from London. It's always great to see you. Esther, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Now, tell us about Liz Truss at it's the Tory party conference. So it's all the political parties have these conferences in October. It's always the big kind of moment in British politics. Liz Truss had some Greenpeace climate demonstrators. There's talk of her being ousted, coup against her. It's all happening. Talk us through it, Esther.
Yeah, so Liz Truss undoubtedly has had some difficulty in the last few weeks from, the U-turn over her, an aspect of her mini-budget, her and Kwasi Kwarteng's mini-budget, to, even having members of her own cabinet effectively go rogue. There's no collective responsibility in her government, as we're seeing. But she's been trying to pull it together. Her speech was quite remarkable in the sense that, she did inject a lot of optimism and positivity into the room. It's still early days to tell what the full reception of that is. I've often said that people are not cheering on Labour, saying, oh, this is the party of our dreams. There's just more of a feeling like, oh, they can't be worse than this lot. But of course, they can always be worse than this lot. With the Greenpeace protesters at her speech saying who voted for fracking, well, that's a very interesting line, because what they're happy to do is they're happy to use cheap Russian gas and not complain about where they get their energy sources from. But when we actually start producing it ourselves, because we have the resources under our feet, that's when it suddenly becomes a problem. There's a lot of hypocrisy around these movements. There's a lot of lack of education. I don't know if you've ever seen eco-protesters doing the media rounds, but they don't come across as the most articulate or knowledgeable lot. They just tend to be a bunch of unemployed hippies with nothing better to do.
Fantastic, Esther. Yes, we do have some similar. We had a girl, a lass here, who got a bicycle wheel lock and locked her head to the steering wheel of a car on the tunnel to the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which is like the Blackwall Tunnel or whatever, crazy sort of stuff. Now, I want to talk about J.K. Rowling. The Harry Potter author.
Yes.
Extremely wealthy lady. She's been cancelled and had all these problems because she's spoken out against the transgender movement. It now seems to be coming around. There was a transgender organisation, which turns out that one of the senior people in it was a pedophile. And J.K. Rowling has come out and said quite, on Twitter saying, this doesn't surprise me or something like that. But she's made a rather snide reference to Emma Watson inadvertently as one of her stars from the Harry Potter. This is the girl, Emma Watson, that basically J.K. Rowling turned into a star, but she and many of the other Harry Potter stars turned against J.K. Rowling over the transgender issue. Well, she's come out and said, well, this pedophile would not be in the position he is in inside this transgender establishment were it not for all those celebrities who have come out in support for this movement over the years. What do you make of it?
I think she's absolutely spot on. J.K. Rowling made the crime of saying women matter. As someone who's been a victim of domestic violence, she said, I'm sorry, I don't really care how you feel inside. Having men in women's spaces can be a threat to women and our safety. And the fact that she's been called transphobic for saying that is completely ridiculous. One of the trustees of this organization, the Mermaid Organization, it's been discovered that he was supporting a group that tries to advocate for the visibility of minor attracted people, in other words, pedophiles, right? Yes. And Emma Watson sponsored this organization. She asked her fans to donate to it. It's the cognitive dissonance of these people, and it's actually incredible to me the way that they don't see the other side of the debate. They just think if you feel a certain way, then you should have access to women's spaces, even though categorically you're not a woman. And that's with the fundamental disconnect. She believes trans women are women. Everyone else with common sense knows that men are not women and women are not men. But because of this cognitive dissonance, she keeps pushing, and she's actually endangering women by doing this. And it's, Harry and Meghan were also sponsors of this organization. It's not just Emma Watson. But that is the problem. It's the fact that they don't want to see the other side of the debate, and they just live in this bubble where they think anything goes and it's just about being nice, or it's not about rocking the boat. And it's a completely different, this same organization was giving young underage girls chest flattening equipment, right, without their parents' consent. It's evil and it's barbaric. And to sit there and go to sleep at night thinking you're a good person because you're sponsoring such organizations, it's just sick.
And you're absolutely correct. It was not only Emma Watson. There were many of these celebrities all supporting this cause. And Esther, it's fine if they want to go in the bubble, as you've said, and support that cause. But the flip side of this was, of course, the cancelling and the vilification of anyone, myself included, other people, I'm sure it may have happened to you, but people being viciously abused for simply questioning aspects of the transgender, what I call a cult. Anyway, let's just talk very briefly, got a minute left, about, you mentioned Harry and Meghan. Seems like the Netflix deal ain't quite going the way they planned.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always said that to Meghan and Harry's credit, they did carry themselves very well at the Queen's funeral, and I suspected they would have had a bit of sort of a reconciliation, or at least reflection of their behaviour, and, you know, moving forward, the kind of things that they will say that would damage the royal family, because at the end of the day, it's still Harry's family. And there's a bit of a dispute with Netflix because they want to re-edit or sort of redo certain parts of the documentary, but I'm suspecting Netflix are realising they've sunk so much money into world's most boring, whingy couple that they have to have something in there that's remotely juicy, or else it would be a complete write-off tax-wise.
Fantastic. Esther Krakue, you always tell it exactly like it is. So great to have you on the show. We'll speak again soon. Thank you so much.